this kind of prosecutorial overreach is inevitably going to cause more of a backlash in favor of Luigi Mangione and also against the administration. All right, let's start with Luigi Mangione.
United Healthcare CEO killer Luigi Mangione. Let's bring in CBS News correspondent Chanel Call live in a newsroom for us. Chanel, what can you tell us?
Yeah, coming to you live once again from our breaking news desk this morning, Mugo. And we just got this release from the U.S. Justice Department moments ago. I want to read to you part of it coming from Attorney General Pamela Bondi's office. It says, quote, Luigi Mangione's murder of Brian Thompson, an innocent man and father of 2 young children, was a premeditated, cold-blooded assassination that shocked America. After careful consideration, I've directed federal prosecutors to seek the death penalty in this case as we carry out President Trump's agenda to stop violent crime and make America safe again. It goes on to say that the murder was an act of political violence and that Mangione's actions involved substantial planning and premeditation.
Death penalty for killing rich people? Yeah. Oh, no. I mean, this is... No, it's not worth it. I still can't see, even with the lights on, so.
I also want to mention that we knew that this was a possibility, Mugo, after Luigi Mangione was charged federally back in December. He first faced 11 state charges. That included murder as an act of terrorism, and this is in connection to the killing of United Healthcare's CEO Brian Thompson. Mangione has so far pleaded not guilty to those state charges, but the federal charges, they allow prosecutors to pursue the death penalty against him. Today, now, when we talk about capital punishment, AG Pam Bondi directing federal prosecutors to seek the death penalty in this case. We know Mangione has not yet entered a plea in that federal case, but prosecutors have already said that these 2 state cases and federal cases will essentially proceed on parallel tracks, with the state charges expected to go to trial first.
Wow, some very important background and context there. Chanel Call.
Yeah, I mean, the Mangione case is... and all of the escalated charges surrounding it are entirely because of politics. Luigi Mangione's actions being taken as an act of terror in the state of New York is specifically because of politics. On the federal case, Attorney General Pam Bondi pushing for this to be elevated or demanding the death penalty on it is once again pure politics. The reason why they're doing this is because they want to make an example out of him. And it's kind of interesting because I feel like this creates a unique opportunity for the court system, or at least his defense attorneys, to try to push for a mistrial. Like there is a lot of outside interference in this case. I don't know. I mean, I hope that they don't end up crucifying him. I also don't know if crucifying him like this is going to backfire, in terms of like how people see him, how people treat this case, because he was seen as a relatively positive figure. And I don't think that the attitude has shifted by the broader American population. I think that they still look at what he allegedly did as not a inherently evil act, even though obviously murder is evil, right? Murder is bad. It's unacceptable. Allegedly, Luigi Mangione's alleged murdering of Brian Thompson. The very fact that in a country like America, where people are incredibly draconian and have this very straightforward approach to law, order, justice. The very fact that like they would still look at a situation like this as an open and shut case and still go, yeah, well, the other guy has a lot more bodies because he's a private healthcare CEO is wild to me. It is indicative of how much pain private healthcare has caused in this country. And I think that this kind of prosecutorial overreach is inevitably going to cause more of a backlash more of a backlash in favor of Luigi Mangione and also against the administration. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Americans are so hog-minded that they'll turn around and go, no, actually, we were wrong for the things that we thought and the things that we said. Maybe hogs will get in line and say, yeah, no, Luigi was a bad guy. He's a terrorist. He deserves the death penalty. Who knows? But he is very white, and he does come from a wealthy family. A lot of these things optically play a formative role in garnering support for Luigi's actions beyond the fact that beyond who his target was. Murder is never a valid excuse for anything. Yeah, it's not. But that's not what is this? He's guilty as open and shut. He's not positive he's a murderer. I wouldn't praise him if he murdered a parent. You wouldn't praise him if he murdered a parent of yours. Murder is never a valid excuse for anything. Yeah, the entire point here isn't whether murder is good or bad. I think everyone understands. First of all, allegedly, we don't know if he did it. Innocent until proven guilty. That's number one. Number two, I can't believe I can barely see the screen in front of me, and I'm still using that limited amount of vision that I have to respond to a silly ass chatter who is refusing to understand that it is not. The interesting part about this conversation, this back and forth, is not whether or not murder is wrong. Everyone understands that. Okay, everyone understands murder is bad. If that's how people dealt with issues, I mean, society would collapse. You just go up and be like, all right, well, you wronged me. I'm gonna kill you now. Is not exactly going to make for a stable society. Now, having said that, the reason why people still have a sympathetic outlook on him, even though Americans also usually operate in this with this. I just hear so many people praise him, and I'm sorry, I just don't get it. Yeah, you don't get it. I don't know what your background is. I don't know what your what your family's wealth looks like. But there's a reason why so many people praise him, and that is because they understandably see someone like Brian Thompson as a placeholder for an incredible amount of death and destruction. So much so that even Americans who normally have the exact same attitude that you have are looking at the situation and going, yeah, well, I mean, it's a little bit of a vigilante justice moment, because they see Brian Thompson functionally as a serial killer. Okay? Because people like Brian Thompson engage in the act of social murder. It is systematized murder. It is processed murder. It's murder through paperwork, but it's murder nonetheless to the individual who watches their loved ones suffer through their cancer treatment and have to forego treatment because they can't pay for it because their insurance decided to deny that claim. It's like that is, for them, whether it is being done by the stroke of a pen or with a sniper rifle or with a bullet, is still experienced as murder. That's the way they see it. Just because it's done for profit doesn't change that reality, right? Maybe you don't live in the United States of America though, because maybe that's the reason why you don't understand it. But that is what it is. You often argue that criminal migrants should be locked up in the U.S. It would be disingenuous for you to argue that allegedly murderer should not go to jail. What? Should not go to jail? Not that you are doing that. It would be am I reading this correct? It would be disingenuous for you to argue that an allegedly murderer should not go to jail. Okay, first of all, there's a difference in the crimes. We're talking about someone who's done a serial something. What? No sentence, convict for murder? What? I'm confused as to what you're saying. Maybe my brain is also breaking down aside from my vision. So maybe I don't know what you were trying to say. I've said if someone has gone through the legal process and has been convicted of a heinous act, a gruesome crime, a murder or a rape or something like that, I think that, yes, justice should be served. Okay. If Luigi Mangione was a undocumented immigrant, I would still have a fairly similar attitude about it all. That his citizenship status or his documentation would not change my attitude at all, because I'm looking at the individual deed. But I went through his tweets. I'm sorry that I'm being woke of the day, but his tweet on Japan really irked me as an immigrant myself. How do I cope with that? Not asking rhetorically, really asking as an honest question. I don't care. I just don't care. I don't have my expectations are not go to urgent care, my guy. Everybody shut up. It's fine. Okay, calm down. What did he say that could make you feel more empathy for a millionaire CEO? No, it's not even a millionaire CEO. It's a millionaire CEO whose entire livelihood relies on denying the average American the healthcare coverage that they paid for. Okay? That's an entirely different, that's a totally different spectrum of pain. We're not talking about, like, I don't know, a millionaire CEO that sells paint or something, okay? Like sitting on top of sitting on top of an empire that sells paint brushes and paint supplies. We're talking about like a dude whose livelihood directly involves your parents getting over and possibly dying. Claim denials are directly a form of violence. What if the paint has cancerous chemicals? Yeah, I mean, I guess that would be the equivalent in this situation. You know what I mean? If the CEO was knowingly, selling cancerous paint, and just like tens of thousands of people every year were just dying because of the cancer in the cancer they were getting from the toxic chemicals in the paint itself or something, like that would be the equivalent. And it would have to be done in such a serialized, systematized way that like virtually every other paint company was doing the same exact practices, and tens of thousands of people were dying because of this every year. And then someone was like, you, I'm taking revenge. That would, like, it would have to happen over such a long period of time where like Americans that normally never understand systematic violence would be able to see what this paint CEO was doing as a systematized version of violence, like a social murder, if you will. Actually, I just realized paint is not even an appropriate analog here, because paint has utility. Private healthcare does not. It doesn't need to exist at all. I just realized that even like there is quite literally no reason for this expensive middleman to exist in this process, and it is only there to make money for the company. That's it. It has no use. It is only a burden. Like that's why it's even paint CEO is not an appropriate analog here. It's just like, you also need healthcare. You don't need paint. No, but they are not providing healthcare. They are providing healthcare insurance. Yes, you need healthcare. You don't need healthcare insurance technically. And the only way that these guys make money is by denying you coverage that you paid for. Like that's how they make their money. It's just so messed up when you think about it. I don't know. I don't know how more people are not constantly losing their minds over how ridiculous this is.